Just one George for nothing.
Okay, we're good to go when you are.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lucy Robin Wells Library Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, May 13th, 2024. We'll start with roll call. You ready, Elizabeth?
I'm ready. George Bernaco,
Here.
Andy Rucker,
Here.
Anna Eddy,
She's here.
Pam Canary,
Here.
Pauline Crook,
Here.
Iris Larson, Leanne Mankey, Maureen O'Connor Lyons,
Here.
Chris Riley,
Here.
Neil Ryan,
Here.
Christine Shushin,
Here.
Diane Stam,
Here.
Fiona York, Lisa Maston,
Here.
Karen Benner, Sheila Rowell,
Here.
David Nagel,
Here.
and Kim Rada.
Is Iris online? Can somebody?
She is not.
No, that's me on the block, on the gray block.
She said she was coming, but
Okay.
I'm on that picture.
I think with the dog.
Okay, thank you very much. I do believe we're expecting Fiona as soon as her work meeting ends, so we'll keep an eye out for her. Thank you for that. I'm looking around. Is there anyone on the camera? Kim's just arrived. Is there anyone on the web for public participation?
No.
No? That's Jen.
That's me.
I know.
She still thinks she only needs one name. Okay. So, public participation, I don't see any in the room or online, so we'll, move forward to town council liaisons. Any news, any reports? We'll start with Dave, so Kim has a minute to get your breath and sit down.
Have something to add. Nothing recently has come up. Have we had since the last, since the budget was passed? Have we reported about?
Did I hear that we,
I
why
don't
don't you report on the budget, because I know it went through, but I can't remember the time.
Okay, I couldn't remember whether we did or not. I know there was.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
There's one thing in connection with the library that you have to concerned about, and Kim can give the details.
Oh, gee.
In
thank
case
you.
I get them wrong. Obviously, the library has been funded, but also an amount, and correct me here, of $75,000 was, a resolution was passed to fund towards eventually supplying funds for the, net staff member who is not
The library.
was not funded for several years. It isn't the full amount, but it's a partial amount. And, I don't know why it was, resolved with 75, but obviously both sides of the house agreed
It's
to
a
it.
full, it's to fund the full, a full-time staff position, but it'll start in January. So it'll start January 1st, and then in the next budget cycle, it will be the second installment,
Right.
so to speak. So, it will, that position that has not been filled will be filled as well.
I personally don't quite know whether that 75 would also fulfill the, health benefits and whatever, or just salary, but that's just an open question that.
I think it would be, salary and fringe.
Because I know there's still questions to whether it funds it or not, but I mean, we're all glad that something was done to move along the lines of refilling that position financially.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a unanimous vote.
Yeah.
Among everyone.
There was no question either side.
Getting back to our pre-COVID staffing level, that's great.
Yeah. And then we did our tour with the, can you remember, well, it's the renovation, the renovation committee, Dave and I participated in that, and we are going to work on scheduling a tour or tours, probably the best thing, maybe smaller group tours rather than 9 people squeezing into the library.
Just get it in.
So we will do that, but we thought we'd give you all a break and wait until after the book sale, after the 5K. You have a chance to take a breath, and then we'll work on getting that scheduled. And, I think that's about it for now, and we're
Yeah.
meeting tomorrow evening, so, we have a council meeting
If
tomorrow.
it
at
hasn't
7.
generally been stated for the record here, because whenever a budget is passed, Facebook says it's this amount, it's that amount, whatever. Got my card, I bring everywhere. The new mill rate is 39.67. That's an increase of 1.31 and a percentage increase of 3.4%.
We work
Just-
very, very hard not to raise taxes any more than possible, because we're all taxpayers and we feel the same way. And to try to keep the mill rate as stable as possible, while still providing as many of the needs of the community, and all the departments. So it's, as you all know, it's a juggling act, but, we worked very closely with the Board of Ed. I think, the Board of Ed and the council were pleased with the final result, so, moving forward, this is what we will be doing.
All right, may I ask a question?
Sure.
How is the search for a new town manager progressing?
Go
I
ahead.
could speak a little bit to that. I'm on the search committee along with, Tim Mankey, Mitch Page, and, John Tristan, the mayor, sits in on this. And we have, it has been posted. So we agreed, we reviewed the, job description and the paperwork at the last council meeting, and, it has been posted. I haven't heard anything more. That was only maybe a week ago.
Oh, so it's only recent.
So it's very recent, yeah.
Thank you.
And the council has not met formally. We canceled the 23rd meeting, but we had a special one specifically to make certain that the description for town manager, which there hadn't formally been one before,
Right.
was done, and we all used our expertise in terms of it. We're looking at each other because this was misspelled wrong.
We're kind of the editors in chiefs.
So there now, so that formal thing, and obviously Kim knows more than I do because she's actually on that committee.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember, I don't know if we've scheduled the next meeting or not, but we will continue, we'll meet frequently, but I'm glad that it's out there, and I haven't heard, if we've gotten any responses back yet or not, that we should hear shortly.
And the council meets tomorrow.
I think responses are due by the 17th to that solicitation.
That's, well, I'm gonna have to check on that, because that seems a little bit quick in terms of when we posted it.
Is it posted nationwide?
It will go out, yeah, there can be national response.
Was it already posted internal? Or simultaneous internal? or
I think
external?
it's simultaneous, it's posted in a variety of sites and venues. Yeah,
And we have used Randy Frank Consulting, which was used the last time. Part of the agreement last time, if things didn't work out right, with whoever was selected for town manager within 6 months, that they would do a research and not charge the town anything, so. And they've been very
yeah,
helpful.
there's certain parameters that they would do, gratis.
Right, and the council makes the final choice.
Exactly.
They have nothing to do with the final choice.
I just make a general comment. I want to commend the two of you, the entire town council, for voting to approve the budget unanimously. That was great. And, my other thing is that what you've done is you filled, what had been a vacant library position, vacant for many years. a new position, collection manager, right?
Yes.
Start permanent full-time in January.
Mhm.
There's 35,000, my understanding is that there's 35,000 from now until the end of the year, and then it's up the new.
Yeah, we did it in two
Okay.
steps, yeah.
So either way, it's gonna be a new position. Full-time, January first. That's a plus. A lot of it gets staff now. So it's been vacant for a long time. And, as far as the, search for the town manager, sometimes the solution to your problems, right under your nose. My understanding is that the acting town manager, Jamie Trevette, did a very good job. I mean, for all we know, she didn't end up being permanent full-time. I mean. So that.
Well, I have no comment.
No, I know you can't. I'm saying sometimes the answer.
And
you know.
I won't speak for Dave, but I'm sure he has no comment on that either.
No,
I
I
don't
can't.
know if there's even an interest to
Yeah.
continue beyond.
No, I'm just saying, by all accounts, she's supposed to be doing a very good job.
We've been very pleased. She hit the ground running and, having had prior experience, within, town hall. And I feel like she's doing a
And I
terrific
think,
job.
And if she
I think
applies
we've
for
been
it,
very lucky.
obviously.
James did a good job too,
He
the last
did.
time he stepped in, so I think we've been very fortunate with our,
Interim.
well, with our town staff, that they're, willing and committed enough to do it, to step in.
They're knowledgeable, they have tremendous expertise, and yeah, we are very happy that they have been willing to step forward and do this. I think I can't think of anything else. That's it for now.
I said,
I think so. Well, we have a whole meeting to.
Stay tuned.
And so do you.
So Leanne is not here, I feel duty bound to ask, do we have all the seats for the permanent building committee identified, staffed? I want to get-
I'm looking at you.
Not beyond where it was before, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I-
There's still one, two, but they do have a,
do
as I've
business.
said before, they have a quorum, which is that, I believe, one position or two
Yeah, we're still working.
They're still-
have yet to be officially approved or brought forward.
Right.
for us.
Any other questions for town council?
I think that purpose legislation, it's a, matter that's kind of in flux, But so it's kind of been fully established, They're kind of fully.
George, you're the only one online, so you're gonna have to really speak up when you say something, because I'll forget looking over.
Got it. Thank you. I got it.
Encourage you to, raise your hand. Secretary's report, Iris? So then I'll move on to approval of the minutes. And last week, did anybody have any comments, changes, updates, what's this?
On page 6, it says old business, but the package pickup, it's me and not this one.
I'm so sorry, I don't know what makes it that.
Yeah, I think the one, we talked about it, but I think the older one was set out. The first one by mistake.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll update that and send that to Karen again.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the method.
Second,
I'll second the motion.
thank you, Neil. All those in favor?
I abstained because I wasn't here.
Chris Ronnie abstains. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries forward. Thank you, everyone. All right, review of the annual activities committee. So it's May, so we have our 5K race. We had our 5K meeting, but the race is this Sunday with the packet pickup on Saturday and lots of busy bees, everyone pulling together. I feel that we're in a good spot, because of all the pre-work that folks have done, Fiona, Anna, Maureen, and the staff in setting things up, and the volunteers. They're gonna be here Saturday and again on Sunday to help with the race, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. We can go into details next time around. One of the other things that we have coming up is the library director's review, so when we get to PET, we'll go through that area. Just gonna make sure sometimes our schedules move around, and, they did just squeak in that book sale at the beginning of the month, right before our meeting, so, I'm sure we'll get a report on that. In June, just a reminder that we'll be sending out the, committee assignment preferences. So if you are interested in serving on a committee, please let me know, because I will be putting you on committees, so it's nice if I put you on committees that you're interested in. Or I say I, but the president, going forward would. A reminder that our corporate officers, our corporate trustees can be officers, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary. Even if you're not a corporate member now, if anybody is interested in those positions, maybe you're somewhat new to the board, you're not quite sure that you're ready, but if that's a path that you want to be on, talk to me about it. We'll see what we can do, what we can set up. And certainly think about that when you get the product descriptions of what's happening and what's going on from that area. Okay, so we'll pass those out in June, and then, we'll try to collect them. Maybe we'll send them out via email so you can look at them and see what's happening. Okay, and then what happens is, after we have our annual meeting in September, we appoint, the sitting, president usually appoints, people to the member. So again, if you've indicated, areas that you're interested in, it makes that job easier, for everyone. Pam, I know you're very new to this, so don't worry about it. We'll have conversations. Don't panic. We'll get you through. Chris and George are still coming back. I've been terrorizing them for a year, so we're pretty good. And that's what's going on for June. There are no meetings, formal board meetings for July and August. There could be special meetings and there could be committee meetings, but there are no Mondays and no until, we come back to September with our annual meeting. Okay, so just a brief overview, maybe a little bit more detail than normal. We do have some new people on the boards. Any questions about activities? I think George has it down now, when he knows when I'm looking on my computer to see if he's saying anything, he's giving me the visual. All right, treasurer's report, Leanne Mankey's report, did everyone get it, read it, you understand it?
Oh, yes, electronically.
Yes. I didn't send it, she sent it, a while ago, she, left for vacation, so she's, Johnny on the spot and gave everything new. We certainly will have it included in the, minutes. As you print it off, when we look at the unrestricted funds in our checking account, our TD checking, it looks like the total increase was around $3,000. 2,854 of that was race, receipts, if that goes through. For expenses, it looks like we are down 1,686. And, some of that was money coming out of the different funds, as you can see on the side, for the purchases of books. Then, TD Money Market, we earned a whopping $33.67, which, brought that money market of restricted funds up to 41,105.97. We go through, I don't know how much detail, we need to do on this. If I skip down to the bottom, when you see the total of the restricted and unrestricted funds for April, we're almost, but not quite 50-50 between the two. We're 45% to 54% of restricted and unrestricted funds. And the total is the 1,149,290. That through.
I didn't have a question on this month's report, but on last month, since I wasn't here, there was something listed, a line item for art commissions. I was trying to understand what that.
For what?
Art commission, trying to understand what that
Art
meant.
commissions?
Yeah, it looked like there was.
So when somebody sells, any of the art in here, the
Oh,
board gets a
okay.
percentage.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was what that was, or we were commissioning an artist to do
No,
something.
no.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Good. Anybody else have a question that's easily answered on the phone?
I just was wondering if the, with the registration fees, is that similar to last year or? on, about the same, or does anyone know, or if Leanne, would answer that, then I can ask her.
I'm sorry, George, you're breaking up a little bit. I missed what your question is.
No, just what, compared to last year, what the registration fees, is it more or less than last year?
So, this is the interim fees that go on after the race. In the June report, we will get a report of, how much sponsorship money we got, how many race fee entries we had, what the expense was for the race. So we'll get our net and our gross, benefit overall from the race. I don't
Okay,
have that information now, and Leanne is absent tonight, so.
okay. Thank you.
Here.
You're welcome. We good? All right, director's report, Lisa Maston.
Hello. I think Karen mentioned last month about the library participated in the Passport to Connecticut Libraries program. It's a statewide, program that libraries can choose to participate in. And what you do, if someone comes to their hometown library, they get a passport, and it has a list of all the participating libraries, and they're encouraging them to go to visit all, different libraries throughout the state. And if you visit a library, they stamp your passport and then you get a free gift. And if you visit more than 5 libraries, you can turn in your passport and possibly win a $200 gift card. So we participated, we've done this for a long time, but we handed out 181 passports to our residents, and we stamped 294 visitors' passports. So it's kind of nice. It's I know people that do it, and they said it's really interesting to go see different libraries and see what they're doing. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. Karen also mentioned the virtual author talk series she's been working on. So we have a new program that's every month. People have the opportunity to listen to a live author talk. So the 2 to 3 programs are offered a month. All you have to do is register through our website. You get sent the link, and then you're hooked up, and you can actually ask questions of the author if you want as well. And then if you miss one of the talks and you want to view it later, you can go to our website and you just view it later. So this is our 2nd month doing it. We've had 2 authors so far. We have Rebecca Kwong. She wrote Yellowface. I don't know if you've heard of that book. That's a very popular book right now, but she's going to be talking on May 21st. At 7 p.m. So several people I know have done it, and they really said it was fun to do, just to see someone, if you're interested, talking about their writing style or what they write or specific books. And in the summer, we're gonna have 5 programs in July that are geared towards children's and teens. So authors that write children's books or teen books. So it's something we're kind of excited about, this new service that we're paying for. The seed library and propagation station is open. This is our 2nd year doing it. We opened it on April 22nd. And leading up to it, we had a garden series, 3 programs about different gardening and pollination. So if you look out, as you go near the surf desk, we used an old card catalog to house the seeds. So it's been popular, but this is something that Katie started doing last year, and she kicked it off again this year. So that's up and running. At our last staff meeting, we had Lieutenant Ivano came in and spoke to staff about safety in the library. And he also talked about active shooting situations, and he showed a video about what you're supposed to do. And staff have been requesting it. So we have another police officer coming in the summer who's going to talk about de-escalation. So just, we're gonna use our staff meetings a little bit differently. It's not just gonna be information about what's going on in the library. We try to bring in more training during those times. Our staff, just finished their school visits with Ruth Chafee, and now they're on to Elizabeth Green. And, they are really looking forward to the end of the school year. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. But several staff went to Elizabeth Green's literacy night. They represented the library there. And they were also at the SEPTO resource fair, the special education PTO had a resource fair. So we had library staff there as well. We had 2 staff members who spoke at the Connecticut Library Association's annual conference. they presented. Bailey Francis, who's our head of children, spoke about tips and tricks from experience with youth services. And Rebecca Cobb, who also works in the children's department, spoke about school readiness for young children. So that we're pretty proud of them. They did that because that's a lot of work and it's a little scary to speak in front of that many people, but they did a really good job.
In your industry even.
Yes, yes, very much so. And then I mentioned earlier at the Reese meeting that Karen was on, Talk to the Mayor last Monday with Steve Parker. She talked about the race, and then she did the Gary Byron talk show on last Thursday to talk about the race as well. And that's it. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any questions for Lisa?
I guess, just one question, when I was looking at the meeting minutes, it said last time that there were 3 resignations at the library, I was just wondering how that impacted, the.
Two of them were pages,
Okay,
and one was a former page who is now she was a library substitute. She actually got a really nice job. I don't know if Karen told you, at Yale.
oh, okay,
So right now, they've hired 2 new pages to replace the 2
Okay.
resigned, and then we're looking to hire for the substitute.
Okay.
She was actually shared between 2 departments, so it impacted 2 departments of her leaving.
all right, yeah, I just wasn't sure what the impact was, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's like, good for her, bad for us, kind of thing. But Jen's covering it, right, Jen? No stress. Yeah, she did a lot of search, so we're hoping to hire that, soon, to replace her, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we will skip over the assistant director's report, assuming that Lisa covered that in her report.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I'm just wondering when the summer reading kickoff is.
Oh, that's right, I forgot to tell you. June 5th. June 5th is for adults, and June 14th is for kids and teens, so the adult one is all day, 10 to 7, people just drop in and register, and the 14th is 5:30 to 7, and it's in the building, it's a Friday night.
Okay, so I'm just wondering that with our 85th anniversary, if we want to do something with the summer reading program kickoff and maybe have a anniversary cake, you know? I mean, usually people come in and there's always some snacks or something, and maybe we could just get a sheet cake and anniversary, and then we can have the legacy stuff up in the corner and, you know, pitch, right? So, I mean, it requires plates and hopefully nobody drops any frosting on the floor, but I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that, the friends are gonna be there to promote membership.
Yeah.
So we need people to serve. We need tongs, we need gloves, we need plates. Let's know maybe.
And just, is it June 5th? So that's a Wednesday?
Yes.
Lisa, I have a question about Libby. So when I search for a book, in this case, it's a book by the name of 5 Resets. It was written by a woman I know, a doctor, Harvard. And it says on Libby, notify.
So that means it's,
Does that mean no one in the network has it? Is it anticipated to be added? What does notify mean?
It doesn't say place hold, it says notify.
Right, notify me.
I think I can help. So I was talking to Dorothy
Recommend that we
the other day, and she buys a lot of the electronic collections. And as you've heard us say in the past, when you have an electronic item, it's not the same as when you buy a hardcover book and you have it for 15 years, right?
Well, yeah, I'm actually searching under books,
Under books in Libby.
books in Libby.
So that means that we don't have a subscription to that book in Libby. And the more people that click notify, I believe that Dorothy can have a way to see that, but we don't have that in our Libby access. If you click notify me, it sends a message so that when they're looking, so, you know, we suddenly have 75 notifies me for a particular author, it would be something that they would look to get.
Well, so I just hit notify me,
There you go.
and it says, this title is not in your library's catalog.
There.
Aren't you smart?
So.
Tagging to receive a notification if the library acquires copies.
So some of the part of Libby's collection is shared too, right? So you'd have to, some of it's a group purchase. And then sometimes we can purchase it individually for our library through an Advantage copy that we're a Newington resident would get preferences. But
Okay,
So it generally means it's not immediately available and nobody else is reading it under our Libby program. Certainly tag it through Libby and, you know, if it's important to you, reach out and see. And I'm not saying there's any guarantee that one person calls and says, hey, I need this book, that it goes into Libby, but they might be able to tell you if it's a hard copy somewhere or anything else that you can get a hold of it. And then if a run goes on the book for interest, I think that's something that they take into consideration when they place their subscriptions.
good, thank you.
And go back to the summer reading thing. So if we do get cake, we need to approve the purchase of the cake, or do we not need to do that? And if we, you know, I mean, I think the busiest time is what, from 10 to 2 or something like that?
10 to 12, and then late afternoon.
So is cake appropriate to do that? Is it something else? Is it, you know, a bag brownie with a sticker that says Lucy Robbins Wells anniversary or something? I don't know.
I'm just throwing cake out there.
Right, and I'm
And you're
thinking that,
pushing back.
no, I'm trying to think of logistically, how do we do this? Because it would be real easy for me to order a cake and deliver it here and walk away, but that's not really what
What
we do,
if
like,
you,
we have the health services things, so.
You're not letting me finish. I'm just saying, you know, we ordered the cake and I'm willing to come in. I come in anyway for the summer reading sign up. And I can stay a couple of hours, and if there anybody else on the board who's free during the day, that can, you know, I can take the first 2 hours, somebody else can take the
What
next
if,
2
what
hours.
if you just provided the food for the pickup and you had a sign and all the info about the Legacy Society to celebrate the 85th?
I'm just,
No, I'm just saying, I'm just thinking, you know, that way you don't have to worry all day about staffing.
What do you usually serve?
Well, usually it's like cookies and something else.
Packaged cookies and then like chocolates, like Hershey Kisses.
I've made cookies in the past, but you have to bag everything.
I think that's probably a better route. And have the board supply them, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and
Yeah.
then we can have a sign that the food was supplied by, to celebrate the 85th anniversary of the library.
okay.
It's not a cake, but it's,
And it doesn't have to be labeled, we could just put a sign.
right,
on
just
the
a big
food
sign in
table.
the corner where the food is.
Do fancy food.
Yeah.
We could get Milanos.
Those are nice.
So Milanos is
Yeah, the Milanos are good.
Those are.
So what do you need, $100, $200? What do you need?
Probably two, we get like 230, 240 people a day.
$250?
It's fine.
I make a motion, we allocate $250 for the 85th anniversary celebration to kick off the summer reading program.
I'll second that.
Nicely done.
That's a long
Well, I had to have it ready down.
Andy made the motion, who seconded it?
I did.
How many people? Everybody seconds, everybody seconds, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Good idea.
Easy.
So, staff is purchasing and sending us the bill?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have one more question, and I think I talked about this before, was, when the report comes out and says, you know, how much circulation, how many, you know, people have come in and everything like that, you know, just kind of showing like, maybe like a, you know, a 3-month average or something, just saying, you know, whether it's increasing, decreasing, you know, that was just something I just.
I can do
Is the counter fixed,
it. It's not function, it's the new counters in, but it's not.
functioning? No, I think that's the delay.
Okay.
Is that if there's a, the request is not being ignored, it's just not easily fulfilled with the technical.
With the faulty.
Temporary
counter, is that what
technical
you're saying?
issue. Okay. So moving on, Thank you for the 85th suggestion.
Yeah.
We will go to Friends in the Library, Sheila.
Well, we had a book sale. It was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of help from a lot of people, the Scouts were wonderful, we had I think their first female. Because we had a little girl in, Thursday night, we had a little group, and, the sale went very well, we had some of the new things that we put in, the, craft, supplies and stuff went. Got everyone, really.
Wow.
Which was really kind of surprising. And coincidentally, we had gotten a huge donation, right before that, maybe 2 weeks before that, from a gentleman who was cleaning out after his wife had passed away. And she had a very large collection of craft books, so we had tons of them. And it was very nice because he came back and he volunteered to help. He lives in West Hartford, I think he said. He came back to help, and we were able to show him where his white stuff was, and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of nice little things that happen with the sale, and stuff like that. We had raised the prices on a couple of things, we raised the prices for the preview night. We went from $5 to $10. Nobody even batted an eye at that one. And we went from $10 to $12 for the bag sale on Sunday, and nobody seemed to bat an eyelash at that one. The total finally, $12,408.25. You know, it's
That was
not as, that's net.
That's not as much as you do.
Not as much as we did last time. I know it isn't much as we did, but, we wanted to.
But
we
we
were also saying that the ongoing book sale
Yeah,
is
it-
increasing, so.
It's sure.
You're
You're
getting,
getting,
$400 or $500 a month of the year.
Oh, really?
$400 or $500 a month.
That's $12,000 you didn't have.
Yeah.
So, well, that's how you gotta look at it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, we're very happy with that, and we're very thankful for everybody that helped out. It really went well. The police came for the two issues that we had asked them about, when we do cash outside. The police came and just sat in distance and took off, which is all we asked for, and worked well.
What about, end of the sale, book pickup, did I hear that we were having problems finding vendors to?
We had some problems, discount books, the ones we, Discover books, the ones we had before, they went bankrupt. And we found that out about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But through, the Friends of Connecticut Libraries Association, they were all looking for the same thing. And there's another, place called Bay State, also out of Rhode Island, and they came and picked up everything, the same way. It all worked out fine. They were there at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So everything was good. And the signs too, we used Cricket for the signs that were left, and everybody was really pleased with being able to read the signs better, especially the ones in the center of town. So there was a lot of plus on that. The other thing is we did have 2 applications for the scholarship. We have some scholarships, so it's somewhat of a moot point, but all the processes are going through, as we were set up to go. So there were 2 applications,
And that's for, the scholarship is for
$500.
library staff?
No, it's for volunteers,
Volunteers.
students that volunteer.
Students that volunteer at the library.
Yeah.
For. Thank you.
And to add something, I was the liaison to the Friends meeting last month, and, I just want to say kudos to them for being on the ball and with everything going on with after Winterfest and getting ready for the book sale and everything. that they, recognize National Library Week and treated the staff to
Bagels.
pre-breakfast bagels.
Very good.
So it's nice that you're on top of those things.
Just one question. Are the Friends meeting this Wednesday?
No,
Maybe
they met
what, last
last
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Already met? Oh. Okay, good. Who went to the meeting?
No one, I did.
I mean, for the board,
But no one.
Anna.
snuck up on.
No, that was April.
Oh.
I went in April. I didn't, well, I wasn't on the list for May.
Oh, that's right, the second one.
I'm supposed to like next time.
There, just a reminder too, your next meeting is your annual meeting too, right?
So the next meeting is the annual meeting and that date is?
The 12th.
June 12th.
Yeah.
Oh, I have that.
Great. And it starts at,
6:30.
Oh, okay.
You missed it, you know.
okay.
Oops.
Any other questions for friends? No, thank you, Jill. Right, committee reports. Budget, assuming that no report on budget? Or,
There we go.
we already talked about it through the town council? The position, was funded for half a year and then going forward? Any other questions about budget, anybody else? No, I'm just gonna cruise through that, but I didn't wanna be too rude. Next up is PEP, Planning, Evaluation and Policy with Pauline Crocker.
I've already, sent out or given out the library director competency, forms. It's pretty well self-explanatory. I'd like them returned by next month. If not, let me know if there's a problem.
Digital meeting.
Yeah.
You send it out online? You sent it out online?
No, I shouldn't do that.
I thought you said you sent it
No,
out.
no, I'm sending.
She handed out, so George isn't here.
Right, George isn't here, and Leanne's not here, those are the two that I haven't gotten.
So even if you just send a copy to everybody, hit a reply all on, the meeting notes, I think that helps folks.
Do you want us to just bring them out, fill that? Meeting? Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well,
you
if you could fill it out sooner, then I'll take an email and finish copy, that's fine.
can, so, for some folks, they're very new on the board, if you wanna just quickly review, what it is we're doing here.
And basically, it's a standard, you've gone through it at work. It's pretty much competency-based, evaluation for our esteemed library director. She does a fantastic job, so you're not gonna have a problem there. We try to, use, 1 through 5, and it gives a competency. It tells you what the minimum competency would be, and what would be outstanding. Does the director do this particular, competency well or extraordinarily well? And the other thing is that, especially for the new people, Pam, she doesn't know the library director that well.
No, I just
So-
said good morning and I'm not comfortable.
No,
So what you
don't
do-
have
no.
to.
But you have to
I just
let me
wanted
know.
you to be aware
Yeah.
and see, I don't think, based on, partial meeting that you would qualify. So I feel like how she's done over the past year.
Plus Lisa wasn't even here for her first meeting.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So, but this is a process that we can handle.
And basically, it rates customer service, organizational growth of the library, administrative and HR management, financial management, how she relates to us as the board of trustees, and professional development and professional relationships. And those of us have been on for a while knows what work she does and have an idea of how she does. If someone has a question about how to fill out the form, they want to try it, you don't have to answer everything because we don't have any clue as to how to answer a particular question. If you don't answer it, say it's not applicable. But if you think you can answer it and you have a question, just give me a call or text, give me something, and I'll get back to you.
I think that, Lisa should get a gold star just to, because she answers to two masters, so to speak, because we evaluate her and the town meeting.
But the sooner you get it in, then I coordinate, collaborate, and work with the Diane to make sure everything is okay. She reviews my report and she signs off on it.
And when is our report to the town due?
But as soon as I can get it done, probably September,
Oh,
because basically it has to do with, we have no clue what's going on with the town manager.
when is your review of the town?
This is, so it's a great mystery.
It's been
flexible.
moving around for several years when we had, town manager in the same town manager in position for a couple of years. We would work on their schedule, and there's been so much change in that department over there when they schedule things, we don't know. So, Pauline and I decided that what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick to our schedule and get our interpretation, and we'll have that ready to go. And just so everybody here knows, what happens is you fill this out and the answers and the scoring is, combined. Lisa doesn't see these individuals. She sees what our summary of, right? So overall, it's been said that this area needs improvement. This area goes very well. We'd like to see maybe a change or something different going on here. Whatever is written goes a copy to the director and a copy to the town hall member. Because, the director does report to both, as it was just said. So you can write, what you want in there, if it's if it says something like, I wish Lisa would provide baked goods at all of our meetings. She won't see Diane Stan written on the bottom of that, right? So whatever little hints I have for improvement will be combined in the greater good.
To be honest, to be truthful, I'm the one compiling it, so it's. But if you don't put something on there, then it isn't helpful to me, because each person sees the functioning of the library in a different viewpoint. Person coming from management, myself being a former librarian, town worker, you're here as a town worker, you have all different, viewpoints as to what a library director should or should not be doing. And let me know if there's things going on.
And that it's helpful. I'm gonna say it's helpful to the director, right? Because if you don't know, if you don't get feedback, you continue to do the same things. If all those things are good, that's great, but then maybe you don't have a new idea to germinate. So just be open, be honest. If there's areas for improvement, there's areas for improvement. If there's things you'd like to see that you don't do.
It might not have anything to do with Lisa, because I've never thought of it.
Well, it is primarily the director's review. So it is what the director does, so.
But if you have a suggestion, I won't stop putting it in the report, saying, hey, these are some of the things in her past free time. Hey. But to be honest, it's not that difficult, as most of you have gone through this. Unfortunately or fortunately, but it's something that's pretty standard. I think you can handle it.
So it's our chance to, speak up and be sure that happens.
And as soon as I figure out my schedule, is I'll be calling a pet meeting. There's a couple of items that I'd like to be discussing. Nothing, major, but I would like have a meeting sometime this summer. And
It would be nice with Pam being
yeah,
you.
but she
You could meet with some a smaller group. So that she's not so overwhelmed by the larger group, that would be good, and then you can get some of those other things done. Okay. All right, is any question of me? No, no questions, okay, if you want to call me, let me know. Fine. So you want those back at the next meeting or before?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Investment Committee, Neil Ryan.
Yes. I emailed out our April report earlier today. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but, April was a little bit down month for our portfolio. For the month, we dropped $15,696.60. Which left us as of April 30th, 2024, our portfolio is valued at $780,333.69. So yeah, a little bit of a down month, but the market had a down month generally the market was down in April, so we were kind of in sync with what the market was doing. Anyway, for the year, we're up $15,000 roughly, which is about percentage or 3 or 4%, whatever, but we're off for the year. And the one thing to note is that May has gotten up to a good start, the market. And with access to the Kingston management website, I can check on our portfolio's value each day. And as of yesterday, our portfolio value was at $792,000. That's for the first 10, 11 days in May. So we're off to a good start in May, but officially for record-keeping purposes, our portfolio is valued at $780,333.69 through August 30th. And,
Do you mean April? April.
I'm sorry, what?
April, not August?
April, yeah, we're what?
We're all looking forward to something.
April 30th, that's right, 2024. And the other thing I have to know, oh, this is my bad. We had scheduled an investment committee, meeting 15 last Wednesday, all set to go. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I was not doing well, not feeling well, so I had to postpone, cancel that meeting. But, I'll be in touch with the rest of the committee and organize another date and time for the meeting. Yeah, to make up for that. Again, my bad, but I couldn't go. Well, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Nothing. No dramatic changes.
Right, does it seem like it'll be hard to get back on Dean's schedule to reschedule it? Do you think it'll be hard to get back on Dean's schedule so that you can?
I don't think so. All we need is one night to meet, which shouldn't be a problem. I'll contact Dean, everybody. I can't predict. When.
We'll be here.
Yes.
You can ask him Saturday, he'll be here.
Or Sunday.
He probably would be. That's right. So I talked to him Saturday. That's right.
Sunday, sorry, Sunday.
He's a sponsor. He's a runner too. So he's giving it his all. And he's helping make us money too. He's a gem, an absolute gem. Anyway, that's my report.
Thank you, Neil.
Any questions?
Any other questions?
Complaints?
No.
Problems?
Good. Thank you, Neil. House Committee. Diane, that would be me. I'm happy to report that Leanne was able to find some lamps. She dealt with, Connecticut Lighting and she talked them into discount. So, the original total for 3 lamps would be $12,037.35. Oh, sorry. Well, those were the old prices that I was looking at. Yeah, very nice. $1,237.35. Yeah. And she talked them into an additional discount. So the total should be 981, so I'm looking for a motion of not to exceed $1,000 on the 2 portions of 3 lamps. So Chris made the motion, Maureen seconded the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just want to cover, that's why Leanne is our treasurer. We should negotiate the price
She went
down.
out, she looked, she sent me pictures, she's great.
The price came down from 12,000 to 900.
You know what, I was looking at lamps and I was walking into stores up and down in Newington along the furniture corridor, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes, and you told me to go to Connecticut Lighting. So I asked Leanne to go to Connecticut Lighting. And she got even more of a discount, so, it all worked out, very happy, that we have those. Also in terms of facilities, I love this time of year, our facilities, our groundskeepers did a wonderful job of cleaning out the whole front area here by the bike racks and the memorial statue and everything. They sent me pictures and I got there that night. And all those little things from the trees were already down. But they have, they're doing an excellent job maintaining the outdoor properties. If you remember from the walkthrough, we put in a lot of work orders and they're starting to, take those off as it goes down. So that works out for us pretty well. Carolyn McLean is the one that, from our administrative office that sends in the work requests and kind of keeps on top of them and goes through, from that end. So she's been doing that for us. We do need to work with facilities, Leanne and I guess Dave Brown and myself to figure out what we're doing with these lines. Evidently, the way that these are attached, you need the facility people, so that's a scheduling issue before we can get folks here to take those off. And then Leanne has volunteered to make the drapes. She's not only talented treasurer, she's talented with needle and thread. As that goes through. Any questions from a facility standpoint? We did, I will say that well, I don't want to steal any thunder, but we did do a walkthrough recently, and I personally thought that the library was looking very good from a cleanliness, neatness, kind of, general standard on the inside and out. We're still crowded, but we're looking good. So that's my host committee report, unless anybody has questions. Okay. Next up is facility on site with Maureen Lyons.
Okay. I'm not going to mince words. I don't have a very good report tonight. Since our last meeting, both facilities and board meeting, I reached out to Leslie Berger and company to ask for an updated cost to revise drawings, a cost to create a presentation that it would go through the renovation committee, who is the entity that would present, and then to the town council. And that would be predicated by having them come to a facilities meeting. We were asking for a Zoom meeting and, once we reach the point of presentation, or Lark does, to the council, then ask for at least Andrew Berman, the architect's presence for those meetings. I have had no response. Andy, to your point, and I'm sure there was a little facetiousness, you said you admired my confidence. I was confident that we would hear from Leslie.
Well, and you had an official, or you had an actual conversation with her.
I've spoken to her on the phone more than once. I have, obviously then she would have to go to Andrew Berman. There have been several emails, and the last of which, I feel like going to your parents, so to speak, to ask for their assistance. I just finally said, Diane, I'm at my wit's end. So she sent an email out requesting, response and information. And this was at the end of last week, and we have not yet had a response. So, couple of things. we have a lot of information from what they provided us, drawings, text, etc. There are several, people on the committee, who don't like essentially what they presented as a whole. And a lot of questions and changes are in flux. Because of the time crunch, I think that we have enough information to put together a presentation if it comes to that. The drawings aren't going to change much as far as the general blueprint of what's going on. And again, it's conceptual. Everything is conceptual, whether it's, the drawings that we have right now. And this would be certainly told to the council, and they know this from all their past experience with building and building committees, that if we're asking for pink furniture in the drawing, or what's showing is pink furniture, that doesn't mean that the furniture is going to be pink, or that's, it's an architect's and an artist's conception. So just before I open this up, because I know people have things to say, Andy. Well, and rightfully so. Wait, no, I know. The deadline to get this information in front of the town council is June 25th. So, and then they would need the month of July and August to review for questions.
Call a hearing.
Have a public hearing, and this is all to get us on a referendum for renovation. So, bottom line, it would be, we're asking for $2. That's what they're gonna, the referendum question would be. And get that in place. The deadline to get this information to the Secretary of State for ballot information and stuff is September 1st. So when we present, what the presentation to LARC, the renovation committee, we need the current cost estimates, a conceptual design. And, I would hope that if we hear, or when we hear from Andrew, that he would update some of the issues that we have with the design, but I don't think he has to start from scratch. This is, and I wouldn't ask them to do that. I think there's enough information for it to be tweaked. And there's some obvious things that need to be added to the blueprints. Gender neutral bathrooms, for instance, something that's simple. And that's where we stand. It's a big dilemma. I'm concerned and disappointed. When I spoke with Leslie, she was very enthusiastic that we were, because we had, had a little bit of hiatus. She was, she said they were still interested in working with us and that she was going to go to Andrew. She couldn't speak for Andrew, but she was going to go to Andrew with our, request. And that's.
Can I ask a question about so when you spoke to her, does she know our timeline of June?
Paper timeline, and then this latest email later, In fact, I think when I spoke with her, we were asking more for May
That's what I was gonna ask, because
Make that
with the May 17th date was.
Yeah, and that was kind of an arbitrary date that Lark had assigned, so that there would be a lot of wiggle room. But nonetheless, that's the original date I had presented to her, that we would want, so important, the cost. You know, because if they're going to change the conceptual drawings, there's a cost there. And then important, what I thought was very important, that we were asking them to actually create the presentation with our input, not off the top of their heads, but to take our thoughts, put it into a presentation that Lark would then present to the town council.
So do we have to back up from that June 25th? Because June 25th, you said was presented in front of the town council, so does Lark need time before that
Right.
to have the presentation in their hands before they go forward to our?
The last possible date to present to the council is June 25th.
Yeah,
So between now and then, we need the information from Leslie and Andrew and to give to them.
So I just want to back up a little bit, because we have some, who's new on it. So, we have been working on this project for a while. We do have a design that most of us like. Is it exactly perfect the way we want it? No. The consensus is with the timing of what happens is the board, as if we were a town department, right, because we're the library department, presents what we would like for the library addition and renovations, to the library additions and renovations committee, which is a town committee. That town committee reviews it and then decides to move that, they make the recommendation to the town council. The town council looks at it, decides if they want to go forward with it. If they do want to go forward with it, then they have a process where they have the open hearings and go through with that. If all of that is yes, 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 all the way down the line, in order to get it on a ballot for a referendum for a normal November, elections, then that is that September 1st date. What goes on. We could take what we have, make a presentation, give it to Lark. There's already been some Lark meetings, both Dave and Kim are on the Lark committee, as well as, a couple of other folks, in town. And overall, it's getting a good reception. What we really need are the projected costs of what it would cost to do the renovations as we envision it today. What is eventually built, we hope is like what we have, but that doesn't mean that each committee that sees it isn't gonna tweak it or go through it, or, by the time it gets done in the value add. For those that went through the town hall renovation, you know that what's there today is not necessarily what they first presented. So things change. And that's what's going on, which is why I feel personally that what we have in terms of an interpretation of where we see the library going and some of the, services that, we want to be able to do. I think we have enough of a pictorial representation. I think we talked about, getting some other, things going on there. And I think that we would then, as a board, have enough information to present formally to work. But we need that price, we need that cost. How many millions of dollars is it gonna cost to do this renovation? And then they have to.
Can I ask, if we know we have the deadline for June 25th, but then potentially in the fall, we would need to do some informational sessions within the community, are we hoping that we would have someone else at that point that could speak more to, are we using the same information that we would present to the town? Or are we hoping that we could add to that potentially by hiring another consultant in some way?
Well, nothing can be.
Not changed, but
Right,
yeah, okay, maybe I'm
Once
asking my
the-
question.
let's say the referendum passes, we're getting our $2 to build the new library. Then everything goes out to.
Right, no, I mean like prior to, in the fall,
We
we're
could
trying to
have
get,
informational sessions, but it would be with this group
right,
or facilities or if, nobody from the outside.
right, okay, got it.
And the town council can't speak to it either.
Okay.
Once, they say, yay, this is the question that's going on the ballot, that's all they can say. Yes, there is a question saying, will you approve
That's
$2
incorrect.
for a library?
The counselors can absolutely speak to it. Administration cannot.
Administration can't, but a Fiona and Dave could have a conversation.
Yeah, well, we can speak as individuals. in the
Right,
town, too.
right, but not as representation.
But it
No,
would
as
be, it would be
probably
the
could.
board's, pretty much the board's responsibility to oversee and try to build that support, have sessions, answer questions, publicize. This is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Bunch of things. Is this Woodward's not responding? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
So is she still doing that work with the ALA? She's into
Well-
something? Is that why I mean.
She didn't say that would impede her.
Okay,
All she said to me when I spoke with her was that she is the interim director of ALA.
she's too busy for us now today.
And I know that she and Andrew both have been working on, the Meriden Library. I guess they just did a new addition that's been completed, but there's additional things now that are going on. They were involved in Bloomfield.
So with my email I sent to Leslie, Andrew, and then Andrew's assistant, trying to find anybody that could read this email, see the timing, and get back to us.
And nobody has, but can we
That
work with
didn't go out.
Andrew without Leslie?
You could.
But he did not respond either.
They're two separate companies.
Okay,
They just work together.
all right.
But he could get us the cost estimates.
Well,
essentially.
yeah, the one that needs it.
Right, does he know the timeframe?
Well, for drawing changes, I mean, Leslie would be the person who would be doing
The
the,
bare minimum we need is a
So to
cost
speak.
estimate. And some kind of a presentation to pass on. That's the bare minimum that we need. Cost estimate would have to come from the architect of this. All the other warrants and other things.
So can you send a new email to Andrew separately? Don't even copy Leslie saying, we want to work with you directly to get the.
well, that's kind of an ethical thing. I don't know what, but
I just read something the other day that I had to say, that I think applies to this situation. Supreme egotism and utter seriousness are necessary for the greatest accomplishment. So apply that to our project, and we need supreme egotism here. As she's blowing us off, I don't think that we.
I mean, you could email him directly and copy her, so that you're not removing her from the conversation and just say, we need.
The last email is the one that I sent. I outlined the dates, I outlined our needs, I sent it, and not only did I send it to Leslie, Andrew, and Vincent, but I called them out in the greeting.
And I've left voicemails since in the interim from that email.
That went
To
out
all of
Friday.
them? To all
No,
of them?
only to Leslie.
Oh.
I have not really spoken to her. I speak to Vincy occasionally, who's one of Andrew's architectural associates. But that was during the design phase.
Yeah.
So
So.
our main contact is really Leslie. It's her company that we have her.
But if she doesn't
Contract.
respond, we don't have to keep her in that forefront, but I did lay out our time frame and what we're looking for. I laid out that we were looking for their cost to provide these services, because I didn't want them to say, enough with the freebies, or, because if we're willing, I wanted them to know that we are willing to pay money to get these services done, to go in, so that they don't put us on the back burner of, we're up again, down again.
Another question. Was that date June 25th? Do we need to send a request to to the town council in advance, asking to be on the agenda for the 25th?
Lark needs to do that.
Yeah,
Lark
Lark.
needs to do that.
Lark needs to do
Okay.
that.
And Lauren Rhines is, in the administrative offices there, she's the administrator.
But how much leave, how much time do we need in advance to get on to that agenda?
The week before each council meeting is an agenda setting meeting, and that's when whatever's gonna go on to the agenda is on the agenda.
So 10 days.
Including
10
the
days.
public hearing, correct? So we
Well, there
would,
would also need to be public hearings, and I think we would have to determine when those would, it's kind of a domino effect.
yeah,
Really, and you have to think back from election day,
that,
backwards, and that's what we've been trying to do.
And and it's been said before, it's basically because the state has certain
Right,
backlog times that things have to be done in order for them to get it on the ballot, an election period. And financially, the town doesn't have to provide extra funds, around $30,000 if there was a referendum at another time.
exactly.
More people will come to vote during an election
right.
date than at other times.
So the September 1 date is the date
That's
that,
it.
That's the
You
drop dead
present
date for the
the town
Secretary of
council.
State.
or the town of Newington would go to the Secretary of State, that's
Right.
that.
That's it.
For the
That is the deadline.
Yeah.
Put it on the ballot.
No way around it. And the Tuesday before is the deadline. There've been some exceptions for some things that have been, for one reason or another, needed, that it's been amended later on.
Right,
But something major,
yeah,
For the
like
most
this, like
part,
this,
we need the week, or they need the week to get materials together to give to the council in advance, if there are any. So, we are,
right,
we know those that aren't like, Ken and I are, don't have the knowledge that we have, are primed for when you come to present something.
and this will be new information for several councilors.
Anna?
Okay, and to respond to Fiona's question about how does this all work? And, you know, what happens between, is that, let's just say we go to the town council on June 25th and we get approved to be put on the referendum in September. What happens in that interim? In that interim, that's where our grassroots effort plan should,
After June 20th,
after June 25th.
All the way up to voting.
until
Right.
they,
So that PowerPoint presentation that I sent with all those slides from that ALA seminar back in 2017, that's where that would come in. Now, interestingly, and I'm gonna just jump ahead a little bit, you know, I talked about, you know, that at the 85th anniversary and doing the Stack the Racks and $8,000. Well, you know, with this, and I don't wanna distract, you know, the community with an $8,000 project, and we've got this other thing going on. But in the process of trying to scope that out, let me back up. The ALA slides were created by somebody named Libby Post. I finally found her name, Libby Post, and she's with Communication Services, Library Advocacy Service. And I believe she's in upstate New York. And we were this close back in 2016, 17 to hiring her to do the grassroots thing. And then that pause button was pushed on us. So we never engaged her services. But when I was scoping out the business for the Stack the Racks and raising $8,000, I talked with Sonia, who is a consultant for the town for the grant writing. And in under 20 minutes, I had 4 pages of notes. I mean, I just went, the woman is just so on top of what's going on. She reminded, everything that she talked about was what is in that ALA session summary that I handed out. And, you know, my thinking is that, and I don't know if that's work, but if we get to that point, I'm putting this out there now, instead of hiring somebody in from New York to work with us and advocate, maybe we hire somebody local who already knows the town and can help us navigate some of the grassroots stuff, because she was all over it. She had such good ideas and, she blew me away.
Do we have a contract with Leslie?
No, I mean, not at this point. Like, are you thinking she's in breach of contract?
No, well, no, I mean, I guess not really, but just more of like, I thought that part of her agreement with us was that she was gonna help with that. So if she ends up
Well, the
not,
lookbook and
then,
stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
The services that we've asked for, we paid for.
okay,
I want to get back to your comments on, hiring somebody. Yes, we hire somebody, to help us with publicity. But I need everybody to be very clear, and it's just like the grant writer. We have the grant writer in town to help us. And it was a lot of work for the board of directors and the director of the library to get the information and funnel it in. So it's not gonna be, hey, superstar, Anna, you're a superstar, you know how to do this, you go ahead and do this, thank you very much, here's your check. And, the board sits back and says, Wells is spelled Welles, thank you very much, and we're done, right? It is an immersive, and it takes, I'm not saying this so that you don't do it, but I don't want people to think that we're gonna write a check to somebody to do this. They become the guides. But we need to do the research and have the information and be some of the feet on the street, because who we hire is gonna be one person. So maybe it'll be one person and say, you need a flyer that we can email to these people. You need, some phone boards, and you need to have some meetings. So we're the ones that have to do that work. So just be aware when we talk about it, it's not a, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank God we've got this pro, in our
Well, we
pocket.
talked about it last time, we had come to the conclusion, and I don't think that the opinion has changed, that we need a driving force. And it isn't somebody that's sitting on the board or anybody on staff, well, maybe, maybe with Andy. Andy might be the driving force, but I think that Andy's talents can be utilized in different ways. We need somebody who knows that whole grassroots effort process and can just keep us focused and on task with it. We need, just like we have the task list for the race that I drive everybody
But
crazy
my
with.
point is that having that guide, because that's what it is, it's somebody who's gonna guide us through the process. Requires input from every one of us to get the job done. It's not this is somebody who does it every day, so they're gonna go out, they're not gonna write the book report for us. They're gonna tell us what you have to put in your report, what you have to do with your things. And we
Two
pull that up.
things. I just forwarded this last email to everybody. And as this is very important, that grassroots effort to get our plea out to the town. We need a library.
3,100.
501.
3,501. 3,501.
Is what votes that we need for that to,
Carrie?
Based on previous elections. That's the goal. Can I jump in?
yeah, please. So I just, what did I want to say? Oh, I sent the email.
Yeah.
And, this discussion is extremely important about the, post information before the election. But let's,
Oh, the
once the referendum has been approved, but I mean, not the referendum, but the ballot.
Yeah.
Information. But let's get
No, I agree.
problem out of the way before we decide how to do the PR.
I just wanted Fiona to know that there is.
Yeah.
There is stuff out there for us to go by that we just have to, we're just not doing this willy-nilly. And we've been down this road before.
Andy.
The contract, I don't remember the wording of the contract. Who owns the work product? Do we own it, or does
I believe we own
Andrew do Andrew and
Anything they
Westfield?
have given us, we have paid for.
No, but what does the contract say about the work product? In other words, if we ask Andrew for the CAD files,
Uh,
are they his or are they ours?
I don't know.
And hopefully they're ours, that when we sign that contract, we were sharp enough to require that. Because then that gives us the ability to work with another architect who might want to work. But, and I hope we do change. I think we've given these people an opportunity to meet our needs. It was 2 months ago at this very table that we all agreed we wanted the architect and we wanted Leslie in the room with us, the committee of the whole, so that they could hear all of our input and put in all of those fabulous features that would justify an expenditure of what is likely now $50 million. The largest construction project ever undertaken by the town of Newington. And one that would likely increase the average property owners, the average homeowners' taxes by $200 to $250 a year. We need a fantastic plan, not just a plan, but a great plan. Because I don't see these counselors being as conservative as they are, as concerned about the taxpaying public as they are, with all the needs and all the things that they have to deal with in adopting a budget every year. I don't see them going in and saying this project is ready to go to referendum. I don't see how they can endorse $50 million project knowing so little about what it's going to do and how great it's going to be, because all the great stuff is not in our plan. And you also might recall that Lark cannot go to the town council without a plan that's approved by this body. We never took a vote. We don't have a recorded vote in the minutes because we don't have a plan that reflects all the stuff that we want in it, all the stuff that really would make those 3,501 people vote for it. So as much as we would love to pursue our hope right now, our hope and dream, reality is smacking us in the face. And there's just too much we need to do. That May 17th date that Lauren gave us is a real date for Lark. Lark is not going to decide this plan for us. When it comes time to dealing with the specifics of the architectural plan, they're gonna honcho all that. But all they do at this point is say, this is the requesting entity. We will take it to the council. We gotta answer their questions when it comes to things like cost and timeline and where we're gonna go for an interim library. All important things, because these guys gotta know that to be able to say, yes, we want to go forward. My hope is this, that, oh, and one more thing, Anna, you don't start 3 months before, you start a year before.
That's
Your
true.
campaign
That's true.
to sell your plan begins 1 year before those brochures. Before there are any restrictions on what you can say and when you can say it, we need little brochures, little Facebook postings and emails that go out, constant contact, blasting the town with what this new library is gonna look like, even before we've gone to the town council. By the time you get to the council, you want it a fait accompli in people's minds. This is the plan that everybody's been talking about for a year, and it's gonna cost us $30,000 or $40,000 out of our funds to hire the people and create the collateral materials to do that. What we need to do now, I think, is give Leslie and Andrew one last chance. Say, we need your help now, because we don't want to lose the momentum. We've lost it so many times over the last 2 years. We talk about doing something and then we don't. This time, let's do it as if Lark was meeting a week from, well, yesterday, their Thursday meetings. Let's pursue it as if they are meeting regularly. We gotta get them this stuff. That means we need Leslie to include those great new features in her narrative. We need Andrew to incorporate it in a plan we all love. It looks great. We need, before we can even do that, we gotta go to the acting town manager and we gotta ask her for the remaining $30,000, I think we have. But the council in 2016 gave us $110,000, I think it was, for this project. So we need to get approval of that, we gotta get a new contract signed, we gotta win all these steps before they even start the work again, but we need to do all those things and then actually get them to give us a tight timeline, meet with the facilities and site committee, we work through and then get them in this room for everybody. They have the free for all to say, I want this, I want that, I like this, I don't like that. And at the end of that, another iteration of it, we take a vote. And
And-
now we go to Lark with a plan, an updated cost, and an idea of how we're gonna sell.
And Andy, everything you're saying is true and legitimate. I'll be the devil's advocate. Some of the things that we have asked for in the past, some of us have already determined are pie in the sky. Do we really want to, have the telescope on the roof? so to speak?
Absolutely, I produced that list of 30 features, and none of them are pie in the sky. They all exist in libraries across this country. None of them is not, there's no library that has them all. We can have the library of the future here first, the best in the state. Sonia Richmond is great. She's never gotten a $10 million grant. Now that's, if you want to get that, you get it out of the legislature. You get it out of the legislature for a library that's going to be a demonstration project for 169 towns in this state. That's how you get the extra money that you need to get that support. It's doable. It's not pie in the sky. If you're going to get 3,501 people to vote for you, you better have a lot of candy in that jar. A lot of things that appeal to a lot of people, and they're all great things. This is not
And they are.
trying to sell snake oil.
Does the Newington want candy?
This is
You
the
know, I'm
one.
throwing this out.
Mortensen Center. The Mortensen Center sold not because the floor buckled, but because it was going to be a great new facility, and it is. Unfortunately, were you on council when that was?
It depends.
I don't know if you were, I don't think you were there when the funds were.
That was a 2-year hiatus there, which is another long story.
Yeah, but I don't think you were there when the actual money was committed, and it was this idea that the town won't spend more than $30 million. So it's gonna be 29.89 or whatever it was, right? The total cost is actually closer to 37 million over the years with all the other stuff they put in that never went through the council in the same way. But the fact is that we all know that they cut corners. They had the great plan that people voted for, but not enough money, and they cut corners. And in retrospect, it was a mistake. We don't want to make that mistake. We want to put it all out there. We want an honest cost, and we want honest support for something that's going to justify what the added increase in our taxes is going to be. And we're not there today. We can push this to Lark and we can force them to bring it to the council. Council's gonna slam it in our face, and they should, because you know what's even worse? Going to referendum and losing. Losing badly.
Absolutely, but if we present to the council, or Lark presents to the council a $50 million plan,
I can tell you right now,
they can
they won't say,
say,
they're gonna say no.
right,
If we brought it to them today, and they should say no. Because there's not, for them to send a referendum, it's a tacit endorsement that they've reviewed this and they think this is a positive for the town. I don't think they could say that in good conscience. We can't tell them enough about it.
well, maybe tomorrow we can. You know, what about things, let's go back to your telescope just for a minute. Supervision. You know,
Oh, please don't get bogged down.
that's legitimate, Andy. Insurance, you're having kids up on the roof.
If Detroit can have a telescope, we can have a telescope It's a lot safer here. We know how to do this stuff. There isn't anything in that list of 30 features that we can't do and do it well. $5,000 for a telescope, roof access.
Well,
We were gonna put a green roof up.
The minor.
The additional hours at night when you can actually use the telescope.
You guys are killing it.
Well, I'm just being realistic, it's the questions people are gonna ask.
Voters, taxpayers, you know.
But that's what that meeting that, you know,
This this is what bounces us back and forth, right? We get stuck in this little. And I think what we need to do is we need to commit to, do we want to approach Lark with the idea that they're gonna approach town council and see if it flies? In order to do that, we can't even take that step without having some kind of conceptual cost. And then the details that go through beyond that, behind that. We could give a list of 35 features that we think would be great for a library to have. We don't have to say that we're gonna provide all those 35 features. I think the telescope is an incendiary topic. We always get stuck there. And we'll get off the telescope.
But if
So
we if we don't hear back from them on the costs, then what's our other option?
Right, we've got to find somebody. That was Andy's question of, do we
Can
own
we
those
hire somebody
documents?
else?
Can we hire somebody else to give us a cost estimate for that? So we'd have to find. a
So the
consultant.
cost estimate is based on the plan. We
Right,
don't have a plan. We don't have a plan that shows the good stuff, the great stuff that people would vote for. The fact that
here's my thought on this. We have a plan that shows the footprint, the new vision.
no, it doesn't. It shows an old vision. Our plan shows we need a bigger library. If I ask you to give me a 10-minute dissertation right now on what that new library would include, could you do it?
Sure.
talking about the-
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so, because the library that we show in drawings is pretty much this library, and we already have a great library. We have a great library right now. It's not the library of the future. It's not a reimagined library, but it's a great library right now. And if we take out 40% of the collection, we reduce 40% of the collection, which is our consultant's recommendation. We have enough space to provide all the storage and the offices and the additional meeting room and a reconfigured team space. We don't need to spend more than a couple $1 million to get all that done.
If we take off that much of the collection, that's what? Give me a visual in the library of that. What is that?
How many square feet do we have committed to collection?
I'm not sure.
8,000,
By collection,
10,000?
do you mean the stacks or do you mean the whole, everything everywhere?
I don't remember the detail of Leslie, but she said, I believe it was
She
the
just
total
wants that.
collection. The total collection of all materials should be reduced by 40%.
Right, but that's not.
That translates into a lot of square feet.
So,
So the library that Andrew reflected in his plan is not a library that the council can support spending 50 million on without those features. And frankly, I can't support it. I can't support spending that kind of money to give us basically a bigger version of what we have now. It's gonna be a great library, and it's gotta have the lecture space that you don't want because it needs a janitor. And,
No, that's what I
you know,
understand.
I
We
mean,
don't want big space.
you gotta remember, I'm coming from 1985, when we were talking about this place,
Oh,
the old library that was here. And what we wanted to do in 1985 was audacious. It was ridiculous what we were asking for. With all the computers and all this and all these spaces, and it turned out great. It was the same argument. And then, when we built it, we had to go back to the council and get our budget doubled. They weren't happy. They weren't happy about that, but guess what? They did it. It wasn't in 1 year. I think it took 2 or 3 years, but we got all the people that we needed. And it vastly increased the collection budget, which you guys haven't raised in what, 8 years, 10 years?
I have no idea off, but.
Yeah, so, the point is, that's the way it works. You build it, then you get the staff to run it. This is the way it works in Newington.
I think what we need to do from a concept stage to talk about what can be presented and what can be there would be the ideas of a snapshot of, a revised children's area, the snapshots of maker spaces, the snapshots of STEM type offices, not offices, but areas that we can use, do things like that. Show them outside space of what we have. I think that's conceptual. Do I think that's gonna change? Yes. Do I hope that we don't end up with a brick shoebox next door to a brick shoebox? Yes, I hope that we don't end up that way. So I think that now is a time for us to try and push to get into that. I sense that the town is willing, or maybe the town council, and maybe I'm wrong, and we've got some councilors here, but I get the feeling like they're trying to get their ducks in a row and push and talk about things that the town needs and go forward. If we miss this, are we gonna miss our opportunity to be in bonding? Maybe there's not anything else in town going on.
There's a lot going on. So why don't we
We
hear
want
from
to be
them?
a part of that.
Based on what you guys know today, Kim, Dave, what's the temperature of the council?
I'm not willing to speak on that.
There, you got your answer. There's your answer. If they thought this was great, let's go for it, they'd be telling us.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
I am.
And I don't respect that.
I
I'm
understand.
just saying that there isn't enough information and we don't have enough information. And we are not willing to be the voice of the mayor and 7 other members of the town council.
So
At this
whoever
point.
you're talking to, who's giving you the feedback that the time is right, the time is now. They aren't these people.
So who are you hearing from that this isn't gonna go forward, or this isn't the time, or this isn't right?
People in her caucus. Nobody in his caucus.
Are saying it's not the right time, or you're not talking to those people?
No, I'm.
How can you say that? You have not been to a caucus that my
Exactly,
party.
I haven't.
Exactly.
So how can you say that?
And I will say, thank you, I will say
I'm
exactly. the
correct, I have
same.
not spoken to any of the 3 of you
Okay,
about this.
so let's back this up. I don't really want it to be a political discussion, but those are the feelings I'm having. So this is a risk that we have, right? If we postpone this again and go back. And that goes directly against the risk that Andy's pointing out, that if we are not prepared enough to get this done, then we spin again. What's the board's overall feeling? Do we quit? Do we try to push this forward? Do we keep pushing until we can't push anymore and we've missed the dates? Kim, you had a comment?
Yeah, I have a question. And I know, well. What information do you have, or would you have regarding funding, bonding, money from the state? To offset, if we're looking at a total cost, let's throw it out, $50 million. Has there been discussion yet? I'm just asking.
So last year at this time, we were going full bore, working with, trying to get some grants.
Yeah, I
With some,
remember that,
and that
that's why
was-
I'm asking.
that was, delayed because we didn't have a professional engineering report on the existing building, which is a prerequisite. We still don't have that, but we could get that. We have all the other information going on, to that point. If the $30,000 are in there, then we would have that and we would know that we applied for it. I don't believe we get an answer on that grant
Until November.
I think it's November.
until November.
Well,
I just want to compare this with the Anna Reynolds project. The state reimbursed us $20 million for the Anna Reynolds project, but that's because there was a governor-sponsored state program. Provide state funding to existing public schools that are in need of renovation and repair. You know, you receive $20 million from the state to offset. There is no such program for the library.
400 Mr.
Just the 2 million.
So the state,
Okay.
state has the $2 million.
It's not even close to what we. It'd be nice if there was a similar state, program for existing public libraries in this state and for either repair, but that's not, we're not there. But just generally, I mean, and for this project, like, honestly, I feel like it's over my head. So I can't really comment in any great detail, but we've been dealing with Andrew and Leslie for a couple of years. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they sense the urgency or we haven't conveyed the urgency to them, it's what we're looking to get done, or if we rank low in list priorities. But it's interesting, you mentioned they worked on the Meriden Library and Bloomfield Library, 'cause I know some of the board went to the Meriden Library a couple years ago.
Yeah, they weren't the original planners of the new, but they're working on something. else.
So yeah, I don't know if we're low in their priority list or what, but it doesn't seem like you're getting any kind of real prompt feedback from that.
And please trust that when I speak with Leslie or send an email, that I'm not saying, oh gee, if you have time, could you get back to me?
No, you're not doing, I'm not, you're doing,
You know,
I'm just saying that doesn't seem like they're responding.
I've been pretty clear and adamant about what we're asking for. I'm baffled. I'm totally baffled.
Yeah, I don't.
So it's 8:45. What do we want to do at this point?
It sounds to me like the first steps is really to try to get hold
Do
of.
we want to set a date
Set a date.
right now, a hard fast date, if we don't get a response from Leslie or Andrew, because they both were on this email.
Well, kind of going along with that, and what I think Andy was saying too, is that I'll make sure whatever contract we have, that we own what we have, so that if we do, if worst case, we do have to go with someone else. I kind of like, the momentum, with the people who know it, but if we had to, then we could give that to someone else to do the tweaks that we want on it and everything, and not be like, oh, well, no, you can't do that.
Not to recreate the wheel. Where is that contract? I mean, we have.
Maureen, excuse me, could you call, maybe if Andrew's not responding, maybe call his assistant, maybe you can maybe he'll respond and you can just ask him the question about the.
So the last email that I sent out
Yeah.
just Friday
Copy.
went to Leslie, Andrew, and Andrew's assistant. Her name is Vinsky.
Okay. But I'm saying make a phone call.
And I will do that. There was a lot of information that I wanted to get in front of 3 people for the timelines and everything else, and that's harder to do on a phone call. But a follow-up phone call to that to find out what's going on, I don't have a problem.
And I did do a follow-up phone call to Leslie, but it was a voicemail.
Maureen, we're not gonna have this information to Lauren by Friday.
We're aware.
Are you going to tell Lauren that Lark needs to just cool its jets for now?
Yeah,
Or do you think that we can somehow do all the things that need to be done? And Lark is going to feel like it has the time. to do
May
what it needs to
17th
do.
is already coming
Right.
along as far as I'm.
I mean, as Anna, solicited the date of June 18th. For when Lark has to get this to agenda setting. It's not happening. We can, again, wish and hope. We should proceed as if this was going to referendum this year, but it's not. And I don't think we should waste Lark's time thinking that this is gonna happen, because it's not. Even if we got a quote tomorrow, when would the contract be prepared? When would it be signed? When would they start working on it? Andrew has to create new drawings to be able to send it out to the costing people. And all this stuff takes weeks.
And part of that is why I think that if we go with the conceptual designs that we have now and the costing that we have now, and we, in our words, tell them the things that we are expecting to put in there. We want the visual to excite people to see what we could look like from the outside, and then we need the words to tell them what we're filling in the middle, is my thought of how we meet those deadlines.
I think it's a wonderful thought, but it's also, it's desperation. It's trying to cram in a whole lot of work in a tiny amount of time. And here's that word again, hope. And hope it's going to be sufficient.
Andy, I guess just going with that, okay, I think in my mind, it's still worth an effort to get the stuff and try. If you don't meet the deadlines, like you said, you know, hope and everything else there. But if you don't meet the deadlines, you would still have the, you know, document in place and everything like that, so that when you can meet the deadlines, you're more prepared and ready to present at that point. I'm just thinking in that case and everything like that, because I mean, if you don't try it, then we're just gonna put it off again, and then you're just
Right.
gonna spin it. Get it all done or anything like that, okay, if you end up missing the deadline for this year, okay, that happens. And then but you now have the presentation ready to go so that you can try the next cycle through, is what I'm thinking. That way, that effort's not wasted, it's just, you know, now you have something ready for the next time. Fair enough?
And my thing is, as much as pie in the sky, but if we're looking for 3501 voters, we want a good portion of those voters to be people who don't normally use the library. We have to be able to offer these voters an interesting thing for them to come out. We have our base, we have our base, the people that love the library. But we need to have, let's say half, maybe?
I figure around 800 is the base.
Okay,
You need
It may be right.
2,700.
we need the rest of them to come on board saying, hey, these projects would be great for my grandchildren. Hey, I can do this for me, that they're offering this for me, that they never offered before. And the only way we're gonna do that is we're gonna have to offer these candies, incentives. Because what we've got is a group of people that use the library and love it. But that's not the people necessarily that have the money and the interest to be able to say, I'm willing to put $200 more on my taxes. We need the movers and the shakers to offer them something.
But do I need to draw a box inside a library building? You don't call it that. Or
No,
do I have to say?
I think if we're bringing it to town council, we're gonna need the candy.
Look, this is not a matter of politics, of
No.
trying to sell something that people shouldn't have. We should be offering this. This is a matter of equality. The reason why we have the library we have today is because back in 1985, we realized that the world was changing and knowledge was still the fundamental thing that people needed to be able to succeed in that changing world. And back then it was books and it was the dawn of electronic information, right? And we argued about whether we were going to provide access to these databases for free and whether the computers could be used for free. It was not automatically assumed. Those were big discussions. Well, today, the access to information has created more inequality than ever. I can buy all the technology that I need and all the software, and if I want to buy a book, I'll buy a book. But the fact is that the people that we serve as a library cannot be assumed that they can go out and do that. We need to be able to provide people who are interested in AI, in music, in art, everything that is digitized today, whether it's biology, astronomy, engineering. The way to be able to do things today is to be able to access information electronically. And that library of the future, that vision, is now what is our responsibility to provide. Just like we did in 1985. And the way to do it is the reimagined library, the library of the future, with all this stuff, without worrying about how are we going to police it. I mean, we'll figure it out. We've figured out everything else. We'll figure it out. The key is to provide equal access so that our community provides its citizens with more access to the new way you get information and the way you work with it than they've ever had before.
I wrote that down. But it was well said. Okay, so, two-pronged approach. First approach is to push forward and see how much.
I agree with
How
Chris.
far we
I
can
agree
get
with
it.
Chris.
how far
Keep the
we can
momentum
go.
going.
And if it doesn't proceed through those areas, if we get hung up because we don't have costing, or if we don't have anything else, then we can't go any further. We know what that is, but the two-pronged approach is to, continue trying to get that information from the folks that we have. And then the second prong is if they won't, if they can't commit to our deadlines, how could we meet those deadlines with somebody else? And I guess maybe I've got three prongs on this report. And then the other would be, save and collect the information if we have to go through it another time.
And Fiona, to your point, ideally, I mean, I think that's all great. Let's push and see what we get. But if in fact it takes us some months and it's the fall until we actually have a plan that everybody around this table says yes, and we vote on, and that's the plan that goes to life, then we kick that communication strategy into high gear. And from November to November,
Yeah, I agree.
that's what we're selling.
And the other thing that I want people to be prepared for or think about is that this could mean that we're calling some special meetings to get those votes. And it can be electronic, it could be anywhere else, but when we get to the point that we say, okay, this is what we have. Are you good going to work with that? Right? Right, so, okay, so you're gonna send me, what was it, Libby Post information to Fiona? She wasn't on the board then, I don't know if that.
I think she just sent it out, Diane, with the.
Oh, did you?
I sent it out to everybody, the summary of the ALA thing. I sent it out to the entire
Oh,
board,
yeah, a while ago. Not a while ago, but not today.
not
You sent
today,
it out
no,
previously, yeah,
within the last 2 weeks.
yeah.
Okay, I thought you mentioned today that you were gonna get.
But today I remembered her name.
Okay.
Was Pam on that distribution? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, and then that was one other thing I was gonna say is, it's a little bit off topic, but we did get, an updated list of members. Just take a moment, you've got it electronically with your minutes and stuff, just take a moment and verify that that information is correct.
Let me just ask, does anybody here remember getting that
Yes,
email?
I do. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, you said?
I would, here, I'll forward it to you. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I sent it to everybody.
Okay, so, do we have marching orders from facilities?
I'll
Do we need more discussion on this? Do we know what we're doing? And then there's a facility for the facilities and site. I'm trying to.
I will reach out again to Leslie tomorrow. I'll put a call in to Vincy. That's,
Anybody have any names of construction managers that would be able to give cost estimates if we gave them blueprints?
I could reach out to our CFO at school and see who they've used before for new buildings. They just did a ton of work, so
That would help.
yeah, I can find out.
Thank you. Because that's one of the problems.
Yeah. And I mean, they work for, I mean, they've done work for a nonprofit, so it might be worth, working with.
Okay.
It works off of the file, the electronic file that the architect has. So in fact, that has all the quantities in it, they just don't share it with you. And
so that's
then,
one of the questions I would ask.
yeah, so they shoot their file over to construction cost estimators, whoever they use. And then those people put in what is supposedly the escalated cost factors. Never puts that.
Okay. What else on facility and site? Anything? The LARC committee has been meeting and will continue to meet. As we go through this.
Actually, we had a meeting Thursday, but it was a lot for the year for, the new members on our. And Dave and Kim joined us. Yeah, Lisa did her usual good job from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, any other comments on this before I move on to the next topics? It's 9 o'clock, as brief as we can go on the rest of the topics will be appreciated tonight. Fund development, Eddie?
So I already gave my report during our last conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, done.
Nominations, Maureen,
That'll be coming up soon, well,
next month.
soon. Next month we'll have forms should we go that. And again, you indicate your interest in staying, you know, if you're a corporate member, of continuing, and then you have an opportunity to indicate if you would like one of these officer positions.
This sheet, should you forget what your term dates are,
And
Pass it
that's
on
list
to
that
Nick.
was just.
so, I'm gonna pick on George because he's the first one on here and it says that his term expires 10/24. So when he gets his form, there'll be a question that says, do you wish to continue on this, right? Yes or no? No, sir. Should, I'll go down one more, should your term be, Andy Brucker's term is 10/26, we wouldn't necessarily ask him that question. But if for any reason your life changes or something changes and you're not willing or able, the more notice we have for that, the better. That goes through. And then it will also tell you if you're a corporate member or a town member at this point. And corporate members are the ones that can hold office. So as I stated before, even if you're a town member, if you have interest in serving in a corporate role in an officer position, kind of let it be known. I'm not saying that maybe you want to do that, you know, next year, but if you're thinking that you'd like to do that, we can start to move some dominoes around or figure out how to have people that are willing to serve in an executive office for the corporate position. And then sometimes we can switch back and forth. So that's coming up in June, in terms of what's going on. Communications Committee, Fiona,
No report.
thank you. Old business, Newington 5K road race, so, we talked about that, we have our starting times. We seem to be in pretty good shape for having everything that we need to have done the week before. Now it's the 2 and 3 days before that we're gonna have to push and have folks there. Still gonna notify the neighbors, if you're gonna do the walk around with that. Chris Riley very nicely volunteered to join Ron Tramato, early in the morning on Saturday to help, distribute tables and things. I think it's
I think road race committee covered everything.
right, and then just a reminder, be there by 7 at the latest, if you can be there at 6:30, that's helpful.
Can I just get clarification on the banners, just the
Yes.
banners, because,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
do you have, we just have some that could hang banners, we're not sure if they were contacted. Well, Anna said you sent out the conflict, so I guess.
Yeah, I included it in every, although the email is a lot, so maybe I'll follow up. Do you know who it
I could
is?
send you a list.
Oh, perfect. I'll follow
Yeah.
up. Yeah, great. So you did have some people drop off last week.
Yep, we have a couple, yep, we did,
Only have a couple. Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, just a couple.
Only a couple, and, those get hung on Saturday, so we need them here by
So you
Friday.
need by Friday. Okay.
And maybe we should just go to the ones that we know have always brought them in the past.
Those are probably the ones you're missing too.
Those are the ones we're missing.
I mean, I could just start emailing. Well,
I'll just send you a list.
okay.
All right, I'll double check.
Yeah, or you could just tell me who dropped them and then I know, you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
it's just two, then.
Yeah, it's, Quantis and Kingston Well.
Well, Kiwanis and Kingston Well dropped off and no one else has.
Two of them don't have banners.
Rose Hill
and
and,
Logo. Yeah.
what was the second one?
Logo
Logo.
grid?
Oh, right, okay. Thank you.
The rest of them, we
The
don't
rest of
have
them
yet.
we need. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll start emailing.
Okay, and, the trustee headcount is 9, and the student volunteer headcount is 9, so hopefully we can, pull that off. We also have our dedicated staff who shows up and does a lot of the work. But it is the board's 5K. Handle event, do we need to go into detail on the
We're
handle
all
event?
set for September and we have somebody in the wings, hopefully for.
Well, I sent out, yeah, I sent out an email to everybody, I think. That said, we had discovered a performer for December. We asked people to listen to their
The
videos.
sugar tone?
Yes, the sugar tones, and, so Maureen and I would like to recommend engaging the services of the sugar tones. They're very sweet, for $600. We don't have a date, we want to just get approval for, the cost of their services, and then Karen will work with them on selecting a mutually agreeable date. So I'll make a motion, or does anybody have any questions? I hope people got, went and, it took a couple minutes.
I don't have Facebook, so I know I'm a dinosaur in that, so we
Sorry.
send out links to Facebook.
So, any questions? No? Okay, so I'll make a motion that we engage the services of the Sugar Tones for a December 2024 concert, on behest of the, Halo series.
A second? Pauline Clark?
Can I amend that? Sorry.
Sure.
Amend that, just, for a Hannah concert in 2024, because if it ends up being November, that works out or something like that.
Okay.
You know, don't box yourself in.
Okay.
So just take December out, put in 2024 concert. Thank you.
And did you say in the motion, the $600? I didn't get that.
It's, yeah, they quoted me $600, so I don't have to
Does
say
that
more than that.
include their backup? Musicians,
Inclusive.
That's them, it's
just the three of them, because they're seeking guitars, percussion, keyboard, piano,
$600.
$600.
For instance, Lynn and Vinnie Roby is a $600 charge. And it's not just Lynn and Vinnie, it's their instrumentation and two other people.
They do acapella and stuff.
Sound system.
So first and second? We have those?
Yeah.
Hannah and Maureen,
No, Hannah and,
and Pauline, okay.
All in
All those
favor?
in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Open board positions, right now we have an open Republican town position.
No, two.
Two open town positions, Republican. Pass the word. New business, do we have any new business at this point?
I think so.
I'm not gonna extend it anymore, but I have been attending the cultural and art as a representative of the library board and the Newington meeting, so.
Thank you. How's that going? Anywhere?
It's been going on, we've come up with, I think the mission statement's been coming along pretty well for that, and
And we made a connection with, our DSR, or anyway, the person who, at the Greater Hartford Arts Council, which we are part of, that would be guiding us.
Do they have any specific requests of the library at this point?
nothing specific to the library.
Thank you for bringing that up. Public participation. Anyone out there? Online, no one's online, okay, no one else is in the room. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So.
Motion for.
Iris makes the move.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
No.
Choice, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Imagine that surprise, and,